Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's video we're going to talk basically on some basic prepping and things that you need to survive a natural disaster all the way up until Shtf. So obviously first thing you need to be doing for you and your family is having a risk assessment. This will be different for everybody depending on the region. Say natural disasters, we have quakes here in California, you may have tornadoes or hurricanes. So the last devastation that the hurricane did there in Florida. It's never too late to start prepping, okay? You can do it cost effectively. You don't have to just take all your money, go crazy. You know, if this is for people that are new, okay, and just spend it frantically, you know, don't do it that way. What you have to do is build up your supplies. You should have basic necessities. You should have this anyway. You should have a medical kit, which includes a tourniquet, and not only having the tourniquet, but knowing how to use the tourniquet to stop bleeding and the pressure points and where to apply that. It's critical. You know CPR. If somebody in your family is choking, make sure you know CPR. Get certified. It's very simple. These are just basics. The number one thing that you should be focusing on is water, having enough water. We're not talking about just your bottled water that you have stored up in your garage. That's eventually going to run out, okay? You need to have water filtration in place, so after your water storage runs out, what are you going to be using then? This is for obviously something that we're looking into long term, right? So redundancy, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So always having a backup to your backup, having a plan. And each time, like I said, for everybody it's going to be different. If you're planning on living on rice and beans, you're going to be suffering, okay, in the long term, because you're going to lack nutritional vitamins and minerals. It's going to wreak havoc on your gut. You need to be prepping things that you like to have on hand, things that you like to eat. Obviously, rice and beans are long-term storage. Having, like I've showed, like having the food saver, Mylar bags, you know, breaking things down into smaller portions, all right, all the way to, say, having a blackout, right? Blackouts can be, you know, a few hours, up to weeks, up to an EMP that could be a very long time. I don't even know how long. It would be a long time. So do you have a way to cook, right? Do you have, you know, so that could be like a jet boil, camp stove, the little one that I have that I like to keep. I have several of these here. You can see how little, it's almost like a cigarette pack, right? This will heat up anything, water, your food, there it is. And it locks right onto the little propane bottles, which I will show you those momentarily. I'm just going to insert the clips so I don't have to just bring everything out. I do have a video on my preps alone, but you can see device here is going to allow you to be able to cook your food. Also having a rocket stove. Okay, do you have rocket stove, a jet boil, a Kelly kettle, things of that nature. I just ordered the Kelly kettle because I already have the jet boil. It's similar to like a little mini rocket stove, but just having a way to cook your food in case, you know, there's no electric, there's no gas, right? We don't know what we're preparing for. We're hoping for the best and preparing for the worst. The worst would be obviously a complete collapse of the economy, right? You gotta remember, there's no one coming to save you. Yes, in a normal disaster situation, you'll have people that will come out, like FEMA, you know, Red Cross, obviously, you know, law enforcement, police, fire, whatever that scenario is. I'm talking long term. Can you sustain? Can you and your family survive? That's what you got to look into. Little thing here, it's by Tasmanian Tiger. Okay, it's a simple little thing. It has its own little pouch. And what it is, it's a rain cover, right, for your rucksacks, your, you know, your bug out bags, stuff of that nature. They come in all different sizes, and you can see here. You can get these online. These are handy. So if you are out and it is raining, you want to make sure you keep your dry stuff dry. And putting this over your rucksack is going to keep everything you have inside your rucksack dry, right? also use it to place over things. These are handy to have. Another thing is communications. Say we have EMP, these are no longer going to work. What are you going to use to communicate with your family? You may not be at home. Nobody knows the time that one of these can occur. So guaranteed these aren't going to work. So taking some time and studying and getting your ham radio license is a necessity, okay? As long as you're making sure that you keep these in EMP proof device. I keep mine in one. I have 2 of them. So I have 2 of these, and I recommend getting your license so that you can use them and not just channel and listen. Now, I hear a lot of people say, well, in an SHTF, I'm not going to worry about if I have my ham radio license or not. It's not about if SHTF happens. As a good person, let's just say, or a person that abides by regulations and laws, you should take that and you should want to have it, right? Accomplishment for yourself, the pride, that you have taken. And let's not be like the far left where, as I said in my previous video, they have no class. They just go around calling people agree with their alignment deplorables, cockroaches. I mean, who speaks like that? These are leaders of our country, and they have this language that is not setting an example for our future generations. It's really important to have. So you have to have a way to heat your wood burning stoves. Those are great. Fireplaces are great. If you don't have one of those, okay. But with that, you got to make sure you have the wood stacked up, right? So for my Mr. Buddy heater, right, I have 2 of the oil filters. These are really important to have. You can buy these. When they first came out, they were like 11 bucks, but with inflation, they're like $26 now. But I highly recommend this, right, to keep your Mr. Buddy heater working efficiently and properly. So, like I said, just little things that you can have that in case the worst case scenario happens, you're going to be able to make it through. Obviously, again, we're talking about basic preps all the way up until an SHTF happens. Now, for my SHTF supplies, I have much stuff, and I did show in one of my early on videos, and I'll try to link it here down in the description box, some of the preps, and that was just a few. Another thing that you would want to have, say you have the Mr. Buddy heater, right? This is the hose 1 pound to 20 pound converter. So instead of using the little bottles, you can use this hose. It's an adapter, and it's going to basically allow you to run the bigger propane bottles to your Mr. Buddy heater. That is more cost effective than purchasing, obviously, the little 1 pound bottles of propane. So again, you need to sit down, do a risk assessment for your location, your climate, making sure you're getting yourself into the best physical shape that you can. Better fitness you are in, the more your body is going to be able to sustain and to help you when SHTF happens, right? So making better nutrition choices, right? Cutting out the sugar, the oils, the bad food, the sweets, the pastries. We're all guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. During summer, I porked on like 11 pounds. I did. It wasn't even like me, but it was a combination of just different things, with losing my father, and then a few other little things that just kind of like, I just wanted to eat comfort food, and we all get there. But the point is, you got to stop this insanity at some point and realize, look, my body is the only place I have to live. Your health is your #1 asset, and then water, okay? Without your health, you're no good, basically, to yourself or to your family. So taking baby steps to get better food choices, start working out more. I have a home gym, but it's not enough, so I recently got a membership. The thing is, you need to have communication, you need to have food, you need to have heating. It's going to be a very cold winter, and with the gas prices going up, it's ridiculous. I want to sit down and read just a little article. So we have a madman basically in office. It says Biden vows to shut down coal plants all across America. President Biden said that Friday that all countries' coal plants should be closed because they're too costly to operate and having wind and solar power. The Republican National Committee suggested that Biden's comment was tone deaf to the tough economic transition that switching to wind and solar would require for many Americans. Joe Biden celebrates coal plant workers losing their jobs. This is madness, right? So this is another reason to look at making sure you're getting ready for the worst case scenario, because in my personal opinion, I don't give any type of financial advice on here or anything. I think we're going to be hitting the worst case scenario very, very soon. All right, because as I said, our leaders that are in office, it's chaos, and we're just a couple days out to these midterms, and I'm gonna keep my mouth closed. I don't know what's gonna become. I guess we will find out. But again, making sure water is your number one thing to prep, right? Eventually your bottled water is gonna run out. Eventually your food supply is gonna run out. Sustainability is key to surviving. And this, we're not even talking nuclear at this point. That's I mean, obviously that is worst case scenario, and there has been a lot of talk going on, and we can just, pray that they're not that reckless to do the dirty bombs. But again, like you can see behind me, we're having fruit trees. We have 3 orange trees and 1 mandarin, and we have this grapefruit there. You can see to the right, and then to the left we have a lemon, and it produces so much fruit. We have a small garden. Again, just growing things. You don't need to have, even if you live in an apartment, you can get upright planters, 5-gallon buckets, all those things that can allow you to grow something. Something is better than nothing, right? Remember this. In an Shtf situation, good men will revert to doing bad things, and bad men will revert to doing evil things. The more people that are prepping, that means the less, I would say, the less chaos that could be coming. There are going to be so many people that are hungry, and you can see that the crime rate is tremendous. It is ridiculous what is going on and being allowed to occur in the communities, the big cities especially. What do you think these crazy people are going to be doing when they're really hungry, right? Right now there's food on the shelves, and you can go and you can get whatever you need. But when we're talking, there's our diesel. Don't forget our diesel issue, right? So getting supplies. They said that the truck drivers for the big rig, the diesel big rig trucks that bring all of our food and supplies to stores and stuff, 2 years ago it cost them $400 to fill up diesel, right? Now it's anywhere from $1,400 to $1,600 to fill up their truck. Can you see the difference? So thinking in that way, the long term, I don't have the answers. I just know that every time you go to the store, buy up, if you can, 3 cans. If you can afford to buy more, buy more. Put those away. Making sure you have fruit, buying canned fruit, freeze-dried fruit, dehydrated fruit. I have a dehydrator that when I was vegan, I was a raw vegan for 6 months to detox, and I bought a top-of-the-line food dehydrator. You can dehydrate your food. You don't have to get top-of-the-line. You can go and you can buy like a $60, $70 one. They'll work just fine. Mine's just a bigger one. But the thing is, eventually all that stuff's gonna run out, right? Like I showed, I have my everyday, I don't say everyday carry because we're not allowed to, unless you have a permit in California, you're not allowed to have everyday carry where you can just go out and carry. But my main gun that I train with is my SR9. I also have the 22. I think having one of each for different things. The 22s are, it's my favorite. Like, I love it over the SR9. It's just, I don't know, it's just something about it that I really like. If you don't have one of these, I'll link it down below. It's not sponsored or affiliated, but I think it's a good thing to have to put over your rucksacks. Training with your rucksacks, you better be doing that, and start out with 5 pounds in it, 10 pounds in it, and this predominantly can go for women. Men, they're stronger. Women, we're not as strong, so we have to kind of, build up our endurance, our stamina. and starting out slow and then building your stamina and endurance to keep that rucksack on your back. And if you have to go the distance, having a good pair of tactical boots, leather with good soles in case that there's electrical wires that are down, broken glass. There could be, different scenarios. Again, having, being versatile with everything that you think. Sit down and think, what do I need? Having a good heavy coat, especially if you live back where it's cold and it snows. Having gloves for your hands, things of this nature, beanies, earmuffs, all of that stuff is going to make a difference in surviving and also being comfortable. And again, like I said, having a different variety of foods to make sure that for the long term your health isn't going to decline, and make sure that you have vitamins, stack up on your vitamins. And if you take medications, I would be talking to your doctor. I do know for a lot of medications it's kind of hard to get, but I would try it at least. Or if you can't possibly get off of those medications by getting yourself into better physical fitness. And if you're a diabetic, having the way to refrigerate your medications. I've showed 3 solar generators that, and I have a refrigerator deep freezer combo that will run off of those. It's still new in the box. Obviously that is for Shtf, and I'm not going to bring it out until I absolutely need to. But again, this stuff makes me sleep better at night. Maybe none of it's enough, but again, we don't look at life like that, right? You try to be prepared. You don't say, it's like with your finances, you're not going to say, well, I may not live to collect my retirement or my pension, or that's not how we live. We, like I said, we hope for the best. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. That's all you can do. There's no need to get stressed out if you're behind. Just take little baby steps. Go through your garage. People have so much stuff in their garages. Things that you don't need, sell it on eBay, get rid of it, and buy things that are going to be useful, such as food, right? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Get some physical exercise. I'm getting ready to go to the range soon. So with that, I wish all of you well. Keep prepping, and stay safe out there. And all my rice, you can see like I write on the top there what it is in these food grade, just handy to keep out any pests and rodents out of your food. So getting some of these is handy. They have gone significantly, but they're still very handy to have. Getting the big bags, right, of your rice and beans. I have so many of this. Today I'm gonna be breaking these down into Mylar and vacuum seal bags, smaller portions, and then I'm gonna be putting into the buckets I just showed. Rice, you can see like I write on the top there what it is in these food grade, just handy to keep out any pests and rodents out of your food. So getting some of these is handy. They have gone significantly, but they're still very handy to have. Getting the big bags, right, of your rice and beans. I have so many of this. Today I'm gonna be breaking these down into Mylar and vacuum seal bags, smaller portions, and then I'm gonna be putting into the buckets I just showed.